Thank you for watching Dro TV. I'm your host, Mike Freeman, back again with my man, Sam Igo. What's happening, Sam?
What's going on? It's good to be here. Been out working in the yard all day. It's nice to finally catch a seat somewhere.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I guess while we're here, muscadine grapes. That's what I want to talk about today. So, um, I do have a video I want to share, so I can just bring the video up if you want. We could start talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Show me what's growing in your yard.
Yeah, of course.
Now, I have seen your muscadine vine before, and I really do like the way that you have it trellised.
Okay.
Yeah, you've created an archway tunnel with your muscadines, and seems like it's a real nice place to hang out.
It's great to smoke a joint under. Um, that's for sure. But I had a really cool snake hanging out up there the other night. I don't know if I showed you that video. Um,
Oh. What's your relationship with snakes like? Was it a pleasant encounter, or did he run you off?
no, I love snakes. So I'm looking up into the. Uh, this is something we'll have to figure
Those
out
don't look
here.
like grapes.
No, those were big.
Tomatoes?
They were the whatever the really big grapes were. I was trying to get the seeds out of them,
Hmm.
and this is something I'm gonna
Wow,
have
they
to
were huge.
figure out here. Yeah, there we go. All right, we got to figure it out, people. So one
Oh,
of the
there we
first few episodes, so bear with us here. But
go.
yeah, this is um, moments ago out here in the food forest. So yeah, this is the
Oh, okay.
whole garden trellis here.
Wow, it is lush. You got a lot of grapes on there. Do you know what kind they are?
Um, I could probably go back and find the video of when I first got them. Yeah, look at how loaded that is under
Oh,
there.
wow. Now, have you eaten them before, or is this your first year with a harvest?
Um, I did have a harvest last year. Birds ate every single one of them, so I did not even get to try them. And I don't know if they even ate them before they were ready for human consumption because they still looked like a little yellow. These ones look all green, but they still like feel a little bit hard. So is there a telltale sign, Sam, that we know this is ready to go?
Well, it does depend on the variety. I mean, there are green muscadine grapes.
Okay.
Um, and I would say the best way is trial and error. You have a lot of green ones on there. Go ahead and cut it open, and then try to bite into it. One thing that most people do know about muscadines is they have a much thicker skin than your typical grapes that you're used to buying at the grocery store. And so, that can make them feel a lot harder. Most of the time, they do ripen to purple, though. I think I've only seen maybe one or two varieties that of muscadines that ripen green.
Okay.
Um, so, they probably do need some more time, but it is worth. You got enough on there. Just cut them open, and then you'll know from a taste. There'll be
Yeah,
a
this was, it doesn't say,
Up
well,
this
it is purple though in the picture.
it is purple. Yes, sir.
They don't know, I'm sure. A lot
nice
of times nurseries
muscadine
will.
grapevine yesterday at the.
I mean, that was 2 years ago. So in 2 years, it went from that to what you saw in that first video.
Oh yeah, they do grow fast. You got to make sure you have a good strong trellis for them to grow on, which your trellis definitely is good at supporting that grapevine. Um, but then with grapes, it is important to prune them as well once a year to keep them under control. open up the airflow and make sure they don't put too much weight because they can really crush anything. You can get really thick, sometimes 3 inch around grapevine vines, which people will grow on their chain link fence and it'll just wrap around there and crush it.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
I know like Jim down at Galt's, he has them growing along the fence there. Um, Ideally, in the wild, they're probably going to vine up a tree or
yeah. And I mean, really, if you go, to any kind of denser wooded area in Florida, you're going to find muscadine vines everywhere. It's a pretty common vine in most of the ecosystems here in Central Florida. Really, even up into like North Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, you find a lot of muscadines. A lot of times, the fruit will be real small, maybe half the size of yours, but they are good. It's a lot harder to get them since they do grow up in the trees. Um, but what'll happen is in the wild, because they don't, if they don't get pruned, as nobody will prune the wild ones, they become overgrown and start to smother the trees. And nature's way of keeping them in check is fire. And so, in a lot of the fire dependent ecosystems that haven't been burned in a long time, you'll find a lot of grapevines, almost, un, uh, too much for the ecosystem to support.
hmm, okay.
So that's why it's important in our yards, if we're growing them, no matter where they are, to keep them pruned, or they will get out of control. I've seen some vineyards gone wild, and it's a lot of work to get them dialed back in there.
So I was talking about my birds that completely destroyed. I love birds, so I wasn't too upset, but just save me a couple next time. But
You just got to plant more grapevines.
yeah, I just need
Feed
like
them and you too.
5 more trellis tunnels to
Yeah.
to pace out the birds. But um, where was I going with that? Yeah,
What your birds?
yeah, the birds. So um, I mean that tunnel setup isn't really designed to be able to put some kind of cloth or anything over it.
Well, I mean, really, it's pretty short, so you could. And really, what you would want to do is just bag up the bunches of grapes. Don't try to cover the whole thing. But I mean, really, there's not a lot you can do to keep the birds away from them if they really want them. Cloth netting, they're going to tear through that. Anything that's really going to stop the birds is also going to make it really obstructive for you to get to the grapevine and to
Yeah.
that area. Um, Try to bag up some, but I mean, seriously, maybe not grapes, but just having, I know your yard's full, but clearly your birds are hungry and you need to plant some more food for them.
Yeah.
Do you have anything planted specifically for the birds around that grapevine?
I don't. I have a couple bird feeders that I probably need to replenish more often. And I did put, I think it was a squirrel that knocked it over. It was in that video, but I do have like a bird bath in there because it is nice and shaded. And, so maybe I'm inviting them in there, but
Well, I mean, you got to have food, but I mean, if you invite them in and then you run out of food in the feeders, then it's free for all. Well, I mean, mulberry trees make really good bird food. I don't remember. Do you have any like ever-bearing mulberries?
I don't. I have two cuttings you gave me that are well on their way, but that's probably
That's
months,
true.
if not a year before that's producing or longer
I'd
than
say at least a year. I'd say a couple years before it can really feed the birds. Plus, that's a Pakistani mulberry. That's a good mulberry.
that. Okay.
But I mean, they will love it. But a dwarf everbearing, I like to plant that around like my berries and my grapes because I mean, it produces so much and it's much more accessible to the birds. They go to that first, and it produces so much that, you know, usually I can harvest other things while they're distracted. But that's usually the key. Whenever I get asked, how do you keep the animals away? It's like, well, they're hungry, and that means they're
Yeah,
more hungry than your yard can support.
yeah,
And
give them
so,
options.
yeah, and it's hard when you're on a small scale. But and I mean, your other options, uh, Bill Mollison. I don't know if
Oh,
you,
yeah,
yeah,
the
have
father of permaculture.
permaculture.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. He told a story once. I don't remember the exact animal, but it was eating something in his garden, and he said, "Well, I've just brought more food in." So he started eating the animals. And, I'm sure you don't want to eat your birds, but that is always that's one of nature's solutions to things that are overstepping their bounds.
yeah.
Uh,
There's a
that was
mockingbird lives in
fun.
my oak tree, and he always talks to me when I'm out there. So one day I filled up all the bird feeders because I'm like, I think that's what he's telling me. And then cardinals, not pigeons, doves, all kinds of birds were coming in, and he just got louder and louder. And I'm like, I think he was telling me to get out of here, like
Oh, it's his
get
house.
out of my own garden here. But because I mean, he's constantly scaring off birds. But um, yeah, I haven't seen them go after the Barbados cherry, but it just started getting cherries.
Mm,
Did they go after passion fruits?
not passion fruit. No.
Okay.
Um, they don't really I see less of them going after Barbados cherries, and I think it's a different kind of fruit, nothing that any of our birds are used to. It's also pretty sour, so I
It
don't know if
is.
that
Yeah.
affects them at all. Um, but yeah, the passion fruit, most of the biggest problem with that is the caterpillars, and there are two species of caterpillar that host on passion vines, and so you know they eat it, and that's part of their life cycle. But they will, you know, devour it in a matter of days, depending on how big it is. And the solution to that is plant some native passion vine around your passion fruit.
Yeah. That's actually what they are. They're a green, really sour passion fruit, and uh,
Oh, does it grow along the ground or is it growing up?
I have them growing up trellises right now. But where I get them from is the bird rehab, and a lot of them do grow along the ground. But where I had originally spotted them, they were growing up the side of one of the buildings, so I just transplanted them. I have them here for the flowers
Yeah,
because
they're
I'm trying
beautiful.
to attract beautiful flowers, but trying to attract the pollinators, the bees, the wasps, the dragonflies. So,
Yeah. Well, and you'll have the Gulf fritillary butterflies because that's one of the ones that host off that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's great. And the fruit, it is sour, like you said, but it's not bad. It's edible, better than some of the other wild fruits.
yeah. I'm curious to see how they do, and um, like I said, you taught me really that I need to incorporate more native plants into my garden. A Barbados cherry is great, but it's not common here. So even though it's great for food production, um, something like this passion fruit that grows wild everywhere around this bird rehab, I'm like, okay, I bet this will thrive at my house, and it's doing way better than it has at the bird rehab. Now I'm watering it and giving it
Yeah.
nutrients and stuff like that. So it's only expected, but
You rescued it.
yeah,
You did the opposite of guerrilla gardening, I think. You took a planet or plant from a public space and put it in your yard.
yeah, um,
No, but that's great. I mean, there's plenty of that out there, and you're just there's none of it in your neighborhood.
No.
And if it is what if it is the maypop, it spreads underground. And so, if it establishes, it'll just be in your neighborhood, which is one of the better weeds to have, I'd say.
Yeah, it definitely spreads underground because when I dug it up, I mean, even like a small one like this big, I'd have to dig out this much because
Oh yeah.
the first ones I didn't get properly and they died because I didn't pull out enough of the root to sustain it to transplant it. But the second time I was 6 for 6 transplanting, and
Oh, nice.
I have two of them growing up my pull-up bar now. So I just like bang in little nails, and as they keep growing up, those little suckers just hold on to them, and um, it's looking pretty cool. So
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a that's how I prefer to use workout equipment to grow plants on. Much more useful for me, honestly.
well, I mean, I don't have an outside treadmill that just has clothes on it, so I do use the pull-up bar. But fortunately, the sides of it are just the wooden posts right now. So
You're brave.
when they start to take over the actual bar, it'll be a different conversation. But
You just grab on. Honestly, it'd probably be better. I can't imagine a outside pull-up bar in the Florida summer. You need something to protect your hands from just burning off while they're up there.
well, no pain, no gain, Sam. So
No, that's
um,
true.
so muscadine grapes. I have mine on a trellis. A lot of people grow them along fences. Naturally, they typically were going to grow up trees and things of that nature. Um, any other way you've seen them grow that they do thrive or survive very well?
Um, I mean, you can make really a trellis out of anything. I like to grow them on like metal wire. A lot of times, vineyards or production orchards, that's how they're going to grow them. And you can really, the key with grapes is you have to train the main vine uh, to a line or an area, and then let it split. You'll prune it at that point so it can split in however many directions it needs to. Yeah, I've seen trellises that have two different lines side by side or one over top of each other, or even things like yours where it kind of splays out over a broad area. Um, you let those vines grow along your structure. Um, but then after that, what's going to happen? Once it's reached the end of that structure, you have to cut it so it doesn't grow any further. And then it's going to start growing out from the structure. So your panels here or your lines here, and now your new vines are going to grow out from this. And so those are where a majority of your grapes are going to come from. But then each year, after those grapes are gone and those vines have gone dormant in the winter, you need to cut that growth back to the structure that the main vines are growing on. And it can get a little technical, especially with something like grapes that have been in cultivation for thousands of years. People get real precise with it. But essentially, when you're cutting them back, you just want to leave a little bit. You want to have a couple of nodes. And we've talked a bit about nodes. That's where the growth points on a vine are, either the leaves or a new branch will come from. And so when you cut those vines that have come off the structure back to it, you leave a small piece that is called a spur, and it'll have one or two nodes on it so that in the next season, the new growth will come right back from that same spot, but it'll produce more grapes. So, I mean, even with your trellis, um, you know, and even on a fence, you just want to give it a yearly prune after it's gone dormant and take off, down to the structural part of the trellis, whatever it's growing on, and just leave a little bit of nodes for new material to grow off of. When we prune your grapes this winter, maybe we'll shoot a video on that.
Cool. Yeah, for
We
sure.
could we could do it on mine, but my grape is growing on a chain link fence, and so it's just kind of going wild. It was here before I bought the house, and
Okay.
I've done what I can to rescue it, but at a certain point, they get when they get really big, you can't really cut that material off anymore, and so it kind of just is what it is. But it is not pretty.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you have any questions about muscadine grapes, if there's something that we missed, if you want to know more, or maybe there's some tips or suggestions you have, make sure you comment down below and we will try and address them on a future episode. Sam, thanks again, man. Tell everybody where they can reach out to you if they need a garden consultation and where they can follow you online.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can reach out to Central Florida Abundance on Instagram or Facebook to get a garden consultation, learn a little bit about your garden, and learn how to tie in the natural aspects to your gardening strategies. You can also check out the Igo Family Farm on Instagram and our new website, igofarm.com. We'll be selling produce and things from our farm. You can follow along with our adventures and see what's going on.
Excellent. And that's it for today's episode. If you want to support the channel, you can head down to our Etsy shop and pick up some sweet gear like some of these shirts.